Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of race number 1, season 62 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series, and we kick things off at the track that gave the series its namesake, Talladega Super
And are you ready
Speedway.
to shop?
Why are we ready to shop? These drivers, they're ready to shop for a win. I'm Seth Cole. He's Michael Norman. Michael, let's do a little price comparison here from this season to last season, because last year, brand new mod, the Aero 88 cars. Drivers had a little bit of experience in other series, but it was the first time run in this series week after week. We had 9 cautions in last year's season opener, and a lot of it we chalked up to drivers kind of testing the waters, getting used to the hit boxes, how they could push, what kind of door banging they could maybe do, of course, getting adjusted to these cars on pit road and everything as well. Now we've had 14 races under our belts. It's a brand new season here. A driver could win their way into the playoffs. Do we see a lot of yellow flags here tonight, or do we see a lot of what we saw towards the close of last season where it comes down to that pit road strategy?
Well, I guess that really depends, Seth, because you never know how the races are gonna go. We could be clean and green throughout the race. We could have a bunch of cautions. So I feel like some racetracks are gonna be fuel strategy, or some tracks are gonna come down to just, placing yourself in the right time, in the right space, at the right moment.
With it being a season opener, a lot of drivers, they approach this race, believe it or not, as a must-win situation. Why? Because the slate is wiped clean. Everybody starts at 0 points. And if you end up wrecking out in this race, you've got another, well, I believe this season it would be 7 regular season races to try and get yourself into a spot in the playoffs. But if you come out on top with the checkered flag tonight, all you got to do is stay in the top 20 in points, and you're guaranteed you will be battling for the championship later on this year. Cars are getting filed onto pit road in preparation for tonight's race. 38 drivers will take the green flag, and via the random qualifying draw, it's going to be Kelly Causey who will start on the pole position. He'll share the front row with Glenn Harris. Row 2 is going to find Bob Dixon alongside of Chris Emery. Terry Bombard alongside the former champion Grant Wesley. Jeff Crivello is going to make up row number 4 with Bobby Farrell. And John Godfrey, Jessica Shelton going to complete your top 10. Brian Lovell going to be rolling off from 11th. Rodney Sullins in 12th. Keith Bynum and Denny Carroll, they'll be back in row 7. Row 8 will be Chuck McClure, former champion in his own right, alongside of Larry D. Row 9, Wiley Coate and John Van Gorder. And another former champion, Josh Metallic, will share the 10th row with Randy Waugh. Back in row 11, it's Mark Paglia alongside of Dave Melson. Row 12 will be Cy Jones and Tim Nofsker. Row 13, former champion Bob Seminara and Craig Hagley. Graham McDonald will be back in row 14 with the defending champion from one season ago. That will be Jeremy Jeffries. And the top 30 will be completed by Milt Surratt and former champion from a couple of seasons ago, Demar Richard Martin. Ulysses Sandoval and Ron Haglund, they're back in row number 16. Row 17, former champion Brian Schilling alongside of Bernie Mobbs in row... Lost count. Row 18 is going to be Mike Mangialardi and Brian Rawson. And in the final row, row 19, will be Billy Elliser and Germ Lewis.
Seth Cole fail count 1.
We're starting the season off strong, my friend. I'll tell you what. There's nowhere to go but up from here on in.
Or is there? Or is it down?
Some notable names missing from the field here tonight, including multiple-time champion Joe DeSpirito. Congratulations to him. We talked about it near the close of last season. He is now newly married. We'll hopefully see him on track as soon as next week. Also, Donnie Garrett not in the field here tonight. Tom Dixon. And also want to send some well wishes out to JT Mayhew, dealing with some health issues. Understand we're probably not going to see him on track until much later on near the end of the season, if that. JT, if you're watching, we're thinking of you, we're praying for you, and we want to see you back on track as soon as we can, buddy. Of course, JT Mayhew, back-to-back seasons, he made it into the playoffs in this series, seasons 60 and 61. All right, first green flag of the season. Michael, the pressure's on. You're taking us to green, buddy. Go!
Yes. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. Kelly Causey going to lead him down the tri-oval, waiting for that magical green flag. We got Barney, the flagman, up in the booth today. The green flag is out. Wake me up before you go. We're going green.
Saw these drivers in practice. They were double wide. They were 3 wide. A couple occasions they were willing to go 4 wide. What will we see now that a checkered flag and points are on the line? Of course, a lot of these drivers took part in either or both of the All-Star races a couple of weeks ago, the Speedway style or the Super Speedway style. And then they had to go through a little bit of racer withdrawal, a week separate from that to the start of this season. All the series starting out here this week, including Barebones, Speed Freaks. Lightning Trucks was last night. Glenn Harris there around the outside, the Krispy Kreme number 8 machine. Looks like he may lead the first lap of the new season with help from Chris Emery and Grant Wesley in the 3rd spot. Indeed, Glenn Harris leads lap number 1 here at Talladega. Bobby Farrell going to slot into 4th. Jessica Shelton on that top side as well. New colors, the thriftbooks.com Pontiac. Into the 5th position, Kelly Causey, Bob Dixon, and Terry Bombard still stuck in the inside line trying to find a way up to the middle groove, which more than likely is going to be the preferred line all day here today. Bit of checkup there on that top side. Got to be careful. I know these drivers, they've gotten used to pretty much the hitboxes of these Aero 88 cars, but that doesn't mean that there's not room for error still.
Boy. Excuse me, Kelly Causey got real close to that 63 and that trial over there. That was almost a wreck.
And the 000 of Chris Emery had a little side-to-side there in the 2nd position. Got to be careful of that.
Did you know that you're also a little side-to-side?
You know,
in the head.
You know, a little, that's an understatement. I'm a lot of side-to-side. I'm the kind of guy that will drive into a double-wide formation and panic because I think I'm 4 wide. And Michael, for the first time in his life, is rendered speechless. Congratulations to me. As I see the 8 there of Glenn Harris out in front. You ever been inside a Krispy Kreme?
Yes, we went to one in a vacation, remember?
Did we go to a Krispy Kreme?
Yeah, I went with you and I think it was Carson.
Oh, that's right.
We got a wreck in the trial.
Oh,
Big one. It's a big one. It's already, I saw one car almost go upside down.
And we've got others collected up as well.
Richard Martin's involved. Craig Hagley.
Yep. I think Milt Surratt got a piece of it. He was spun out. I don't see, at least, of course, got back there a little bit late when you made the call on it. I didn't, at least though, when I checked on some of those other drivers, I didn't see any hard hits. Think we might be okay. Mike Mangialardi there, I think he just came to a stop. Terry Bombard started up in the 5th position, but was on that inside line, remember, kind of trapped and going backwards. He was involved in that. And I also just saw the Rodney Sullins machine there in the 38 quite a ways back as Glenn Harris, frozen field, brings them back here to the first caution of the season. We'll go back and take a look at a replay of what brought out the yellow. I was going to bring up, though, with the Krispy Kreme thing. You're right, we did actually on the vacation, but the funny part was the Krispy Kreme that I normally go to when I'm on my travels and I'm traveling south and come back up north is in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. I'd never been into it. I've been through the drive-thru several times, but never been into it until this past trip. And they actually have, like, picture windows where they show the donuts being made, and so you see them on the assembly line as they come out to the counter. I don't think the one we went to had that, but I've never had actually seen that before. It was the first time I saw it going into that Clark Summit Krispy Kreme, so that was kind of cool.
Yep. Under our first caution here on lap number 5.
Yeah, this wasn't cool. Take a look and see what exactly happens. Let's start with the 38 of Rodney Sullins, because I think it's around his area. Also in the vicinity is the 82 of Craig Hagley. That's Jeff Crivello in the 36, just ahead of them. Oh, there you see it. Left side of your screen. Tim Nofsker getting into the back of Terry Bombard. Car you talked about catching air, I believe, was the 82 of Craig Hagley. New sponsorship for him here this season, the Harris Metal Works machine. Bernie Mobbs in the Sitco number 31 was collected. We'll jump up to the 10 of Terry Bombard and see if it was maybe some dreaded bumper grab or maybe it was just a little too early of a bump. Oh, they checked up right there. Yeah, there was contact further up. with Randy Waugh and Chuck McClure. And it just checked everybody in that middle line up. And when Terry checked up, he had Tim into the back of him, and then everybody scattered to avoid. Richard,
Oh, wow, my voice.
whoa!
The triple zero just got spun coming out of pit road.
And we'll cover that in a minute here.
God, I don't know what the heck just happened on my voice.
You went from 0 to 100 real quick on that one.
I
Must have really surprised you.
Well, I was clearing my throat, so I wonder if that might have had an issue.
It might have. Your throat is well and cleared. I can confirm that. So can all the listeners at home.
And the dolphins in the ocean.
Richard Martin actually did get through a little contact on the right
I
side.
Richard Martin actually did hear you.
Well, I don't know about him. He's not a dolphin, but there are goldfish on the number 1 of Jeremy Jeffries' car this year, so maybe they heard it. See if we can find the incident with Chris Emery coming off of pit lane. Emery crossed the line in 2nd place, coming to the caution. And let's see what happens here. He's coming down, taking fuel only. Bob Dixon pulls in ahead of him. Here's Grant Wesley coming out. And, I don't think it was any contact. I think it was that first gear wheel spin maybe that took place right there. And I don't know for certain if Emery's going to be able to get the spots back or not. He crosses the line there in 20th. We'll see. Yeah, I think he ended up being able to get back the spot that he was in when he left pit road. So it looks like he would still be somewhere around, well, 3rd on this restart, I believe. Some drivers diving onto pit road there. Tim Nosker stayed out, led a lap. May have taken responsibility for that caution, which the procedures is you stay out, pit the 2nd time by. That way you drop to the rear of the field for an EOL. Denny Carroll now going to inherit the lead in the 41 car. It's going to be interesting to see here, Michael. I was looking at the driver list. Ooh, someone's really warping back there. That looked like that might have been Dave Melson. But I was looking at a number of the drivers that were on the list here this evening. Denny Carroll, Graham McDonald, Ulysses Sandoval. These are drivers that we saw around the 2nd half of last season. Didn't run the full season, so we didn't really get it.
Full season.
Yes, as I told you, there's nowhere to go but up, and you said down, and I'm probably doing that right now. But we didn't get to see them run the full season, and there's always that question of what if they had run all of the races of the regular season, would we have been talking about them in the category of a playoff spot? Now seeing them here taking the green flag for the first race of season 62, there is a chance. I mean, you could also throw Larry D, Keith Bynum, a couple of other drivers, Brian Lovell into that category, Jeff Crivello. These are drivers that, when we see them put an entire full 8 regular season races together, we could very well be talking about them maybe even near the end of the season up in the Final 4 with a chance at the championship.
We'll have to wait and see.
So lights are still on atop the pace car. Looks like everybody's going to be on the lead lap when we go back green. Denny Carroll and Bob Seminara, according to the latest scoring, have not come to pit road under this caution period. Everybody else behind them has. We'll see if the 41, the 712 come to pit lane at this time, or if they will stay out to be the front row for the upcoming restart. And it would appear that Carroll will stay out, but Seminara will come in. Jeremy Jeffries there with a late move. He would have restarted around the 15th, 16th position, but he's coming down pit road to top off the fuel tank. So Denny Carroll will be the one to get us under the green flag here for our first restart of the season on lap number 9. Chris Emery will line up to his outside. Glenn Harris and Grant Wesley in row 2. Bobby Farrell, Jessica Shelton, row 3. Keith Bynum, Kelly Causey, John Godfrey, and Larry D are going to be the top 10. Well, for Denny Carroll, with staying out here, depending on how much he was able to save. If we trend green for a bit here, he will have to come to pit road much sooner than everybody else.
Who?
More than likely somewhere around the lap 20 to 22 mark.
Who are we
Everybody
talking
else,
about?
the race leader.
Okay, I briefly zoned out for a second. The 1 and I think that's the 38 are going out. Probably EOLing the 38 with the warp issue.
Oh, Melson?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we apparently didn't have somebody else take the green flag, unless the server name is 789.
Yeah, server name 789. We had 38 drivers on the list, and they all took the green. They're all running right now.
Okay. Okay.
We didn't have the 998 take the green.
Yeah, he could have, but he decided to stay up here and commentate.
He'll just take the moral victory of beating the 999 on qualifying, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
And beating him in commentary too, because I haven't slipped up once.
But you know who's better than both of us?
Jesus.
CM Punk.
Yeah, yep, that's true.
Anyway, Danny Carroll getting ready to get us back under the green flag here, looking for his first win on the season. I believe Danny Carroll's looking for his first win overall in the Talladega Challenge Series. But he is going to be at a slight disadvantage in terms of fuel because everybody else pitted at some point during this caution period, and he did not. Chris Emery, who was second when they took the first caution, will restart in second, and he's going to get a pretty good bump here, it looks like, from Grant Wesley. Glenn Harris wasn't quite able to get to the bumper of Denny Carroll going through 1 and 2. We'll see what this translates to when they hit the back straightaway, but you'd have to think, with all we've seen of that middle line being so strong down the back straightaway, that Chris Emery, Grant Wesley, Jessica Shelton, they're going to get a nice run here heading into turn 3. Emery's clear for the lead. Wesley trying to clear for second, can't quite do it.
Inside lane really isn't all that formed up. It's more on the outside lane, and we'll see, we'll see what can happen out of it. Let's see if the inside lane starts to get a good run. But no, Seth, you could see the outside lane just getting a better push.
And you got some big-name drivers that came down pit road and topped off the fuel tank there on that 1 to green. We'll see how anxious they are to start to form a third line, and there it was. I just saw further back
Did you
there.
say a fourth line?
Well, I was going to say a third line, and then I saw the 4 jump up to the top for that third line, and my brain saw the 4 and said 4 and combined it with third, so it became Ford.
Seth, calm down. Do we need to get you a teleprompter?
I don't think that would help. I mean, literally before we came on the air here, Michael was complaining about his phone autocorrecting things, so I think the teleprompter would do the same thing. But that's Wiley Coate, Brian Schilling, Tim Nofsker up there trying to formulate a third lane. All those drivers back outside of the top 20. Got to make something happen back there. You can't ride in line or else you're just going to remain in the same position you're in lap after lap after lap. You got to make your own fortune if you're towards the rear of the field. Try and make some forward progress up towards the top 10 at least. As that middle line continues to be strong. I'm kind of wondering here if on future restarts. Now, obviously, I'm not necessarily certain if Kelly Causey had a choice at the initial drop of the green. But Denny Carroll, I believe the leader gets lane choice, chose to be on the inside line here for this restart. I wonder with what we've just seen here on these 2 start and restarts, if a driver is the leader, if they may end up taking the outside line. Now normally from what we've seen in the past, you want the inside line to begin with because the inside line gets the better run through 1 and 2, and then you can clear up to the middle line. But we've not seen that happen here yet so far here this evening. Let's jump back to this 3 wide, just outside of the top 10. That's Ulysses Sandoval up on the top. Brian Lovell in the middle. Glenn Harris on the bottom. Josh Metallic offering the drafting help to the Icebreakers Pontiac. Keith Bynum down the inside with Glenn Harris. Brian Lovell looks back and sees absolutely nobody for help in that middle line. Hanging tough there, though. Still 3 wide amongst those 3 drivers around the 10th position.
Ooh, boy. Yes, it's depending on how you're.
Oh, John Van Gorder got up into Graham McDonald. He's going to get Jerm Lewis. Wiley Coat.
Somebody either got loose.
Oh, hold the brakes, 616.
Yeah, somebody got loose and up into him.
Yeah, it was the 19. John Van Gorder, and then Mark Paglia went around as well in the 28.
I think he went around because he got spun. Oh, okay. 33 got hitboxed. I think he hitboxed the 19, and that sent him up into the 616. That's what happened.
Mark Paglia might have a tire down.
You might have a tire down.
Looks like he's got a right front down.
Well, he did almost flip over.
Trying to nurse that thing back around here to pit road. And it looks like he's going to come around to take the yellow first. One of the Blue Angels cars involved in this wreck. The other one led us back to caution. Chris Emery leading us back to the second yellow flag of the night. Jessica Shelton having some fun with the pace car right there on the back straightaway. That was kind of cool. The yellow to teal green transition for the Chevrolet Corvette pace car.
Pace car is going into turn 3. How is she having fun? I thought she was in. Oh, she's in 3rd. Just like
it's his first night. Everybody, cut him a break.
No, I don't have paint schemes. Remember? I don't have paint schemes, and I'm used to her being in a blue Napa car. Remember?
Ah.
Does she switch?
This is not the generic you were looking for. Yeah, she's no longer a Chevy Corvette. She's a Pontiac.
Why. Yep, that's why.
Let's take a look at what happened here. Watch the 19, the black, blue, and white machine on the bottom. Gonna drift up the track. Right there. There's Graham McDonald and Wiley Coat. Just nowhere for him to be able to go. Watch the right side of your screen. We'll see if we can find out what happened with Mark Paglia. Man, Richard Martin just barely dodged a bullet. Jerm Lewis did not hold the brakes after he spun out. Shot right back down across the track and almost clipped the 43.
Here comes everybody to pit road.
And you saw back there the 28 of Mark Paglia. We didn't see with that shot who tagged him. He was at the back of the pack, too. Literally at the back of the lead pack. Maybe the 7 of Cy Jones might have been the one that tagged him. And the 28 actually went for a tumble. Oh, right there. He kind of cuts down across the nose of Chuck McClure, and then right there you see, yeah, grip flipped up and over. At 28 of Mark Paglia, it's going to be easier to tell him and Craig Hagley apart from each other here this season. Both of them had the Texaco Haviland cars last year, and really the only way you could tell them apart was by their number. But new sponsor for both the 82 and the 28.
Was it, though?
If, yeah, Paglia is going to come back out. Jerm Lewis going to come back out. And for those that are wondering what this is a throwback to, if you were originally going to say Dale Jarrett like me, well, we'd actually be incorrect. Dale Jarrett did have the Ford Quality Care sponsorship for a number of years, but on the side of his car, it was the red and white stripes like an American flag. These are just the straight red and white stripes across the lower third of the car. This is actually a 1993 throwback to Bud Moore. And yes, I had to look it up. I did not know that off the top of my head.
Huh.
And if I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me as well. I believe Lake Speed also drove a car similar to that because it was a number 15. I think Lake Speed and Bud Moore both drove that particular car that number 28 of Paglia is throwing back to. Of course, very familiar throw back out in front here with Brian Schilling, the number 4 Kodak machine. And he's bringing that car to pit road, along with Brian Ross and Jeff Crivello, Craig Hagley, and Cy Jones. That will turn the race lead over to one Randy Waugh.
Luigi?
There it is, first of the season.
I think we should take a quick commercial break, Seth.
Do you think that?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
because they got a whole nother lap of pacing to go through.
Are you paid to think?
Yes.
All right, then, in that case, since he's the boss, we're going to take a quick FRN race break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Our coverage will continue right after this, working our second caution of the Season 62 opener of the RTG Talladega Challenge Series. Randy Waugh, your current
Luigi.
leader here at Talladega. Gosh. We welcome you back here to Talladega Super Speedway. You saw
But do
there.
we?
We definitely do. Appreciate
Are
everybody
you
tuning
sure?
into our coverage here tonight in the first race of the 62nd season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series from Talladega Super Speedway. You saw during our race break, Randy Waugh stayed out, got a bonus point for a lap led, came to pit road. Michael, I think you said there were a handful of drivers came down there with him to top off the fuel tank as well. So with these two early cautions, the fuel games are already beginning.
Yep. I thought it was going to come down to it.
Grant Wesley, first time that the three-time Tally Challenge champion has been out in front here tonight. He'll have Kelly Causey alongside of him, along with Jessica Shelton, Chris Emery, and John Godfrey, the top five, as we get back underway. Lap 18 on the board, second restart of the evening here. Grant with a great jump. He's got himself clear of both lanes. Now he's got options of where he wants to go when they exit out of turn number 2 and onto the back straightaway. Two cautions so far here tonight. Nobody out of the race, and all 38 drivers that took the green flag to start this one still running, and at this point still currently scored on the lead lap. Grant Wesley finished 6th in overall points last year. Failed to advance into the Final Four in a bid for his 4th Tally Challenge championship. Kelly Causey behind him also was a playoff contender last year, finished 7th in overall points. Both Grant and Kelly eliminated in the same round. Ooh, a lot of movement back there just in the latter half of the top 10. Dave Melson, Josh Metallic almost locked some bumpers there. Got a car on the apron further back. I believe that was the 28 of Mark Paglia. He might have some aero and or engine damage and has fallen out of the lead group going to the tail end. Bob Dixon now moving up into the 7th spot. And he's about to get taken 3 wide. Jessica Shelton leading the bottom. Bob Seminara leading the 3rd lane. Seminara's got Nofsker in tow. Nofsker having to work his way from the back of the field after he took an EOL for the first caution of the night. And the defending champion, Jeremy Jeffries, right behind him. The new colors on his machine, Goldfish, sponsoring the number 1. It's the snack that smiles back. We'll see if Jeremy will be smiling after this race.
Smack that smiles back.
Goldfish. Rodney Sullen's right behind him there in the 38. You'll have noticed up on our top right some new sponsors coming in and sponsoring this season for the RTG Talladega Challenge Series. Appreciate every single one of them. The Dixon Brothers, Rodney Sullen's Paints, Ultimate Garage Floors. Oh, big wreck. Oh, man, hard hit for Milt Surratt, Mike Mangialardi, Brian Schilling. One of the LaJoy's Tire Shop cars was in it. I think it might have been Seminara.
Oh, Wiley Coat just goes down to the inside here.
Keith Bynum, Brian Lovell. Well, we've had a couple of wrecks so far tonight, but I think this one out of the 3 could be classified as the first big one of the season. That was actually John Godfrey was the Town Fair Tire LaJoy's car that I saw around. Took a big hit into the outside wall along with Milt Surratt. And the caution's going to fly for the 3rd time here this evening. This was in the tri-oval. We'll go back and take a look and see what went down. I believe it was the 711 and the 80, the first 2 that I saw get together, and they took the hardest hits. Oh, almost looks like we'll have to get another angle. It could have been chain bumping. It could have been bumper grab. I'm not 100% certain which was which. Rodney Sullins and Milt Surratt, I think, were the 2 that got together. Mangialardi, see top of your screen, comes to a stop. He does get rolling again. I talked about this last year, that it was very difficult with the damage model for the Aero 88 cars to tell just how damaged a car was for a future restart, how off the pace they would be. You may have been able to see it right there. The whole front end of John Godfrey's machine was pushed in, so you know he took a shot. As we get another look at this, focus on the black 38, the blue 33, and the orange 80 up on the top side, because that's where I think the stack-up takes place. The question is, was it a stack-up or was it bumper grab? And right there, it looks like the 33 checked up a little and the 80 was into the back of him, so I think there was a stack-up on that top line. And Milt Surratt goes around. Back-end damage on the Tide machine. Billy Elliser in the Quaker State car might have gotten a piece of it. He was down there on the apron. Left side of your screen there is Brian Lovell. The Armed Forces Day Monte Carlo. Of course, Armed Forces Day falling here in the month of May. May 18th.
2 weeks from now.
So caution out once again. Looks like we had a number of drivers hit pit road. Jeremy Jeffries leads his first lap of the season, the defending champ. I believe he was one of the drivers that came down pit road and topped off the fuel tank under the last caution. So we'll see if he elects the track position here, or if we'll see him down pit road during this caution period. And unfortunately, we've got our first couple of retirees of the new season. We had gone 2 cautions with nobody out of the race. This third caution takes out John Godfrey and Germ Lewis. So they will finish 37th and 38th respectively. And you think about it here as well, I mentioned at the top of the night, 14 races this season. It would have been 15, but one of the Thursday nights falls on Independence Day, so obviously they're taking an off week for that. So 8 regular season races, 6 playoff races. But there's something for these drivers in the early going of the season to race for as well, even if they don't get that checkered flag, because the higher you are in points, the higher your seeding is when they put together the Challenge Bracket Series. So drivers obviously racing for that also in determination of how good their finishes are. I believe it is the top 32 in points get put into the said bracket series, and that usually starts up about 3 or 4 weeks into the season. Well, we haven't had the need for a lucky dog.
Speed?
Huh?
We haven't had the need for speed.
The need for speed. We haven't had the need for that either. But we haven't had the need for any free passes since our previous cautions. Everybody has been on the lead lap up to this point. I mentioned about the fact 9 cautions in last year's season opener. That was the most cautions in a race all season long. And again, we kind of attributed it to drivers trying to get used to this new mod. Here tonight, not sure if we attribute it to a little bit of that or if we attribute it to a little bit of impatience here. I mean, again, I mentioned about the fact that the Tally Challenge regulars have not been behind the wheel of these race cars for a month. A number of them took part in the 2 respective Speedway and Super Speedway All-Star races a couple of weeks ago, but then they went almost an entire week past that before the green flag flew to start out Season 62 in all the respective series, including tonight's Tally Challenge race. I don't know, Michael. Do you think that as a driver, when you've been a week, 2 weeks away from getting out there and racing up with drivers, there's just like an extra incentive to be a little bit more aggressive here in the season opener? Is there a little bit of race rust that's going on because you're not used to doing it week after week? You had that little bit of a respite. I mean, what do you think's attributing to these early yellows that we're seeing here? Because it's definitely a far cry from what we saw out of these drivers at the beginning, or at the second half of last season, especially during the playoffs.
Well, you got to also think too, Seth. A lot of these drivers race in the other RTG series as well,
Right.
so they're not exactly getting that whole couple weeks off without actually racing. So, excuse me. So it's probably just antsy. Everyone's just getting a little antsy. They got to probably refigure out the the hitboxes on this mod. So, it's probably just a little bit of antsiness and forgetting exactly where the hitboxes are for this series. And Seth, I want to take a moment, if you will, since we're not like the old person that used to run a specific wrestling company, and give a little shout out to Johto Network. They're broadcasting a race over there, for their Bomb Squad race right now. I want to thank them again for their help in the spring All-Star race I put on. Bunch of good people over there, and if you ever want to check them out, go ahead and do it. Johto Network, the YouTube channel name, and they put on some good stuff.
Where are they broadcasting this week? Pocono, I think, right?
No, they're right now. I'm tuned into it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. They're at Pocono, I think?
No, they're
Squad?
at Indianapolis.
Oh, they're Indy. Ooh.
Yep, and I give you one guess as to who's winning right now.
It's either Tyler Mallon or Jovan Anderson.
It's both. They're first and second.
Oh, there you go.
Jovan's actually first.
KJ, if he's racing, is probably up in that top 3 as well, I would think.
When it cycles back through, the 08's in third. I'm not sure who that is. I'll see when the thing cycles back through.
I'm trying to remember who the 08 is off the top of my head.
Oh,
Been a
hold
while
on.
since.
Hold on. It's about to circle back through.
Is that
Go ahead
Greg?
and
Is that Greg Lovell? Maybe.
oh, hold on. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come
Come
on,
on.
you
There we
can do
go.
it.
BSR Ricky J, BSR Tyler Mallon, BSR Jerry Cook.
Oh, it's Jerry Cook. Oh, okay. So Jerry's racing over there. All right, but we're racing over here too, and we're getting ready to go back green. Randy Watt took the outside line
Luigi?
here on this restart. How about that? Jeff Crivello on the inside.
Catch me outside. How about that? Ooh, and the 88 car gave him a great shove.
Did you really just
Oh,
do a...
no!
Oh, gosh! We're good. We're good.
We're kind of good.
Got Kelly Causey on the apron, but I think we're good.
Holy moly, that
we're
was
four
scary.
wide, but we're good. Right. Well, everyone check your pulse. Slow your heart rate down. We're all right, and Randy Waugh and Grant Wesley are clear into first and second.
Randy Waugh, Grant Luigi.
That did not fit. Also, I still hate you for doing that Catch Me Outside callback. I can't believe you did that.
You're the one who said, how about that? And it just
We're not on Dr.
Head.
Phil. Grant Wesley to the inside of Randy Waugh. He's going to try and go back to the lead. Chris Emery to offer the drafting help. However, Grant's got to complete this pass before they get out of turn number 2. He's clear, question mark?
He's going to squeeze it. Oh, he couldn't quite get up there.
21 got too much of a run. He's got the drafting help there from Bob Seminara in the 712, Denny Carroll in the 41, Jessica Shelton in the 9. All of a sudden, the 8 and the 000 are going to find themselves freight trained on the bottom.
The 096 back there trying to crack the top 10. I'm assuming his car isn't sponsored by Burger King, and that's just a generic card.
You would be correct. He's got the Icebreakers sponsorship on that Pontiac.
Well, on my end, he's Burger King, so he's the Borgor man.
He's the Borgor man?
He's the sexy Borgor man.
I was going to say, you got to add sexy in there.
Middle lane, got to be the lane to be at here. You know, Seth, me and you speaking of my All-Star race, that this was the track that we used for that All-Star race.
It was.
So
you are correct.
So me and you both know just how OP that middle lane is.
Especially off the corner, turn 2 especially, that inside line. Car gets tight, wants to push up. You have to half throttle it sometimes to get the nose pointing. That loses you all your momentum on the back straightaway. I mean, look at Grant Wesley. He and Chris Emery, a couple of laps ago, they dove it to the bottom on Randy Waugh to get the race lead, and now they're in danger of falling outside of the top 10. Josh Metallic, the Gray Ghost, trying to do something down there on the bottom. The Buddy Baker throwback, but he didn't have any help. Terry Bombard will go around the outside of him. Craig Hagley in the 82 right behind him. How about the powder blue 92? That rhymed. Of Bobby Farrell. Now up into the 6th position. Remember a couple of seasons ago, Bobby Farrell was leading the regular season point standings, made his way into the playoffs via points. Had a very consistent year, looking for the same thing to happen this season. Last year was 20th at season's end in the point standings. He had some good runs, but he had some bad runs that kind of canceled it out, kind of flip-flopped in season 61, looking to start out season 62 on a high note. Tim Nofsker, he got eliminated in the very first round of the playoffs, did Tim. Right now in the 5th position, having a good run, and just ahead of him, Jessica Shelton. Shelton finished out last year in the 22nd position in points.
Just a heads up, had a position change over here at Bomb Squad. Kila Jules now in 2nd place.
I haven't raced with KJ in so long. I miss racing with him. Granted, he won every race in the series that I had because it was open setup, but I miss racing with him. I miss getting lapped by him.
I missed winning a Martinsville race using your Phoenix setup.
Yeah, wait, was that?
I missed dominating.
But was that Icebreakers?
No, it wasn't. It was,
I was going to say.
Somebody who we don't talk about anymore is Truck Series.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. I was going to say, I didn't think you raced back when I had the open setup series.
Yeah, you begged me to race. I said I didn't want to race an open setup, and I'm like, fine, I'll give it a try, and dominated.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, that inside line's working now.
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
It's got some competition down there. Not a lot of cars, but I mean, it's like we said. The only way the middle lane is not OP is when they are 3 wide. It kills for some reason. It just kills the middle lane's momentum.
There's some fast cars on that inside line, though. Nofsker, Metallic,
Fast? I thought we don't talk about that.
Wesley, as well as Emery and Chuck McClure. And also might add Brian Schilling and Larry D into that conversation in a moment here. Nofsker's been able to get up to the left rear quarter panel of Shelton, so that would be side by side for third. Here comes a third line you were talking about. Bad news if you're the middle line. Craig Hagley, Ulysses Sandoval, Jeff Crivello up there.
There's a lot of cars on that outside lane in the back here, too. Once they start getting up to about the third or fourth car in the... Oh, never mind. To the inside.
Ooh, Seminara makes the move on Randy Waugh, who tried to block it.
And now the middle lane is all but non-existent. Got those 4 cars that you see on your screen.
That'd be Randy Waugh, Denny Carroll, Bobby Farrell, and Terry
Ulysses
Bombard.
Sandoval on the outside. Second car on the outside lane. Trying to push up here.
I love when things rhyme, and in the middle line, we've got Farrell and Carroll. There we go. Sounds like a law firm.
And Randy Waugh went right up to the outside lane. It's going to kill a little bit of that momentum.
Look at how that helped the inside line.
Yeah, but now everyone's gone back to just about the middle lane there. Oh, man, these cars are just going and switching lanes all over the place.
And now Tim Nofsker will jump up to the middle line, 3rd through 5th, now looking to go 1st to 3rd. They leave Shelton out. Now they're going to go even higher on Seminara, stick him in the middle. Oh my gosh, this is a very broken formation up at the front. It's going to be a lot of runs here if drivers can time it correctly. Oh, we're going 4 wide through the tri-oval. Chuck McClure sticks it down to the inside of Emery, Carroll, and Waugh. Looks like it might be Chuck McClure backing out of that one there, as that was a hairy situation. Now it's going to be Nofsker to the lead, Metallic into 2nd, Wesley into 3rd, battling now side by side with Seminara, and yep, here we go, take 2, out of 2, ooh, that's a tight area to be going 4 wide, and I think they're going to make it work, barely, wow.
There is not a lot of room out there.
No.
And me and you both know that inside lane loves to push up off the corner.
Well, those 2 lanes of Emery and Shelton both had to really be feeling it off that corner of wanting to push up into the 2nd and 3rd lanes. Great job out of all those drivers to not even bang doors in what would have been a very tight situation onto the back straightaway. But how about this? You'd think we were at 10 laps to go. We've just crossed the halfway point with the slicing and dicing going up inside this top 5. Seminara now to the inside of Denny Carroll. Tries to get alongside of Grant Wesley for the 3rd spot. Couple of drivers off the pace involved in our previous 3 cautions. Mike Mangialardi and Mark Paglia. They're both running together about 20-plus seconds behind the leaders in 35th and 36th. They're hoping for more of a race of attrition and maybe vulture their way to a couple more spots in the finishing results.
That 39 almost got a little sideways there.
Josh Metallic with a big push from the Darrell Waltrip throwback of Grant Wesley.
This might be a bit of a knock on wood moment, but hey, let's just shout out the fact that we've got nobody 1 lap down and only 2 cars that have lost the draft.
Yep, and at this point, I believe we would have to go another 7 to 8 laps, I think, before we would encounter the 2 cars I was mentioning that are off the pace of Mangialardi and Mark Paglia. They're half a lap down right now.
Ulysses just dove to the middle lane there.
3 wide, count them, 8 rows deep. From 2nd back to around 22nd.
Now it's 3rd, or it's 5th. So the outside lane is just dying off.
We've seen the middle line get the advantage. We've seen the inside line get the advantage a couple of times. That 3rd lane has not necessarily gotten the forward momentum we expected. They've gotten up close to the lead, but they've not been able to clear anybody to the point. Top 4 now trying to get clear on that inside line. Seminara, Emery, McClure are clear. Schilling still has Tim Nofsker to his right rear quarter panel. About Larry D in the 188, the Hot Wheels Chevrolet. And Ulysses Sandoval to his outside. Richard Martin right behind him in the 43. champion from a couple of seasons ago. Won that championship without winning a race. And remember last season, after he didn't make the playoffs, he said, well, I mostly focus on consistency and top fives. Now I want to win before the season's over. I wonder if he's gone back to the consistent mentality here, or if he's still in the race win mentality from the second half of last season.
Very possible.
Got a couple of Richard Petty throwbacks nose to tail there. Bob Dixon in the 143 also there. I think we ended up having a wreck back when I was mentioning this, so I want to shout them out. The sponsors here for this season of the Tally Challenge. You've got Rodney Sullen Paints. You've also got the Dixon brothers, Bob and Tom. You've got Ultimate Garage Floors with Donnie Garrett. Of course, RLM Arena, 260 Motorsports with Jason Scheck. Some great sponsors bringing you guys the coverage that you are enjoying here tonight and during the course of this season here on FRN.
Man, you remember when FRN used to have actual commercial breaks?
Yes. I also remember how difficult it was to put those things together. I think what we need is we need to have a commercial of you singing Final Countdown.
It's the final. Okay, good.
Larry D flirting with the apron right there. Has left sides down below the yellow line.
5, 4, 3.
I'm seeing some.
41.
I was just about to say, I'm seeing some chat lighting up there. Wondered if anybody had their hand out the window to pit. Remember, Denny Carroll did not come to pit road under the last yellow, so he would have been shorter on fuel than everyone else.
It's the 41 to 36, but here comes Randy Waluigi.
Yep. Oh, Crivello flying in there, and he's going to miss pit road.
Oh, don't
Look
spin.
out!
Well, Denny Carroll needs a new pair of shorts.
Absolutely no way Jeff Crivello got that thing woed down to pit road speed.
And I believe he's retired out of the race as well after that.
So he'll be the third driver out, along with John Godfrey and Jerm Lewis. The good news there for Denny Carroll was he had somebody to come to pit road with him rather than being by himself. We'll see if he and Randy Wall will be able to produce enough speed in a tandem to keep themselves, if not on the tail end of the lead lap, at least a lap down in this lead pack, maybe cycle back around onto the tail end lead lap if these drivers all have to make green flag pit stops as well. I believe I just heard them leaving pit road. Yep, there's Randy Wall coming up onto the racetrack.
Now we're going to have the lap cars come into play until at least the pit stops cycle around.
Which...
Oh,
there they go.
We got a wreck.
And that's Brian Lovell catching air. Glenn Harris, Dave Melson is up and over. Caution going to fly for the fourth time here tonight. As more than a half dozen drivers collected up in this incident on the back straightaway, and this is
going to help Mark Paglia and Mike Angelardi.
This is also going to help Randy Waugh and Denny Carroll, because I think they were both ahead of the leaders at the time the caution flew.
No, I don't think the 20. I don't think the 21 was, but the 41
no, you're right.
was.
You're right. Well, the 21 should, by virtue, then I think get the free pass. So he would get back on the lead lap regardless. As Bob Seminaro led us back here to this caution. And the timing of this yellow is quite interesting because if the 21's a lap down, so we're going to have an extra lap of pacing here under this yellow. We probably won't get back green till at least lap 44, maybe lap 45, which would put us 21 to 22 laps short of the finish, which is just barely outside of the fuel window for these drivers. So now it's the question of, do you feel nobody's going to be able to make it? You come down pit road and top off the fuel tank here on the first lap of pacing to keep your track position, or do you elect to come to pit road at the 1 degree, give up all that track position, but maybe be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel? And it looks like, at least for the front runners, they're all coming down pit road. So as they make their pit stops, let's go back and take a look at what happened on the back straightaway. Like our outside pole sitter. Oh, gosh, I just saw the 043 of Brian Lovell just got turned. What just happened there? I just ran to the back of Graham McDonald. I'm not sure what was going on there. Maybe our replay of the incident on the back straightaway might give us an idea. Unless it was maybe just the 33 checked up more than the 043 expected. Let's see what happens on the backstretch here. Let's watch for the 043 of Brian Lovell.
So yeah. So as we're looking at this, looking at the replay and everything, it looked like the 31 just kind of went like pushed up off the corner, and Brian Lovell was, I guess, had a good run and was trying to go underneath them, and then like let off, decided against it. Right as Jessica Shelton got a run on him and gave him a bad bump that pushed him up into the 8.
Shot him up the track. Glenn Harris involved there, and you saw the 038 of Dave Melson go for
I mean,
a
if you look at
barrel
it
roll.
from, if you look at it from the regular speed and helicopter cam, looking at Brian Lovell, I mean, you just see the speed difference, and you can see like maybe he wanted to try it and then he just backed out, but just had such a run on him that it would have been that she just kind of had no reaction time.
Let's try and find out who it was that popped the 038 of Dave Melson.
Up in the air.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was the 80.
No, Surratt's had a tough night. I believe this is the third of 4 cautions that he's been involved in. Ooh, Jeremy Jeffries getting hard on the brakes there. Little contact with the left front and the inside wall for the defending champ.
Well, if nobody tops off, and this is the one pit stop of, for this caution, which I doubt because these cars love to come in and top off, Seth, this is going to be cutting it real close.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can make it, even if they come down to 1 degree. I don't think they can make it to the checkered flag. I think
Oh, but
they'd
can
have
you
to
imagine?
rely.
You said fuel strategy, so if this race goes green to the end, could we see people try to save? Because if you would
Maybe.
think we're going to get what, 4 laps of caution, right? At least, because we do have a lap down car.
Right.
So 4 laps from now would put them at that 46, 47. You come down to top off at 1 to go and clutch the rest of the way until we get to the green flag. You might just have to sit at the back and clutch a little bit and save enough gas to make for at least a good 1 extra lap.
Yeah,
At most.
the thing I'm thinking is I'm not 100% certain just how much you can actually save during the course of a full run. My guesstimate would be maybe 1 or 2 laps at the most. I don't.
That might be all they need.
Well, that's what my thought process is. I don't know if they would have enough to make it to the regulated end, but let's bear in mind that we have the designated point of no return around lap 62, 63. You get a caution anywhere in that point, then you've got those extra pace laps to be able to save maybe
And we've
the
seen that before,
half
too.
lap or the full lap that you're short. So, yeah, while I'm not 100% certain these drivers can make it to completion of lap 66, they'll definitely have enough fuel to be able to make it to a run with the point of no return.
If they go at least 2 laps of caution, 2 more laps of yellow, that'll get them on the 45, coming to the green on 46,
Right.
which is 21 laps to go, which is like, and all they got to save is that 1 to 2 laps of gas. Now, Seth, me and you know exactly the way to do that.
Yeah. The only question that I have though is, do you come to pit road and top off again at the 1 to green then to make?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
So you
Because
don't just rely on what you saved here under these pace laps.
Exactly, because you're not going to want to. You're not going to want to ride up to the front in those last 20 laps. Me and you, Seth, we know that better. We want to run somewhere where we're running 75% throttle, where we can clutch it when we suck up to somebody. So it's those little things that can save the gas that you need, especially if it does run green all the way to the end.
Well, Terry Bombard, Brian Schilling coming to pit road there. I'd have to assume they think that this is going to be the indication of 1 to green. You see Randy Wall, the only lap down car, would get the free pass when the lights go out. That would turn the lead over to Denny Carroll. And there you see, lights are out. So there goes the 21 around. We'll have our remaining 35 drivers all on the lead lap. 3 drivers behind the wall in Jeff Crivello, John Godfrey, and Jerm Lewis. And Denny Carroll will choose the outside line for this upcoming restart, which will be with 22 laps to go. So we're looking roughly about, even when the drivers that pitted with the 1 to green, you're looking about 1.5 to 2 laps short on fuel. Bob Seminara will be second, but he'll be on the inside of the front row. Chris Emery in third. Chuck McClure up now in the 4th spot with Tim Nofsker in 5th. Ulysses Sandoval 6th. 7th, Grant Wesley 8th. Josh Metallic, Rodney Sullins, and Richard Martin going to complete the top 10.
All right. So I was 1 lap short of thinking of how many laps of caution we were going to get.
Right. So now,
that's still 2 laps of gas they'd have to save, and that's if you came in and topped off right now.
Yep. Which a couple of drivers did. The 10 did, the 4 did.
The 9 did as well.
I believe the 26, 043, the 6.
So if I was those
33,
cars
28, the 1.
If I was those cars that just came down pit road, I would stay at the back of the pack and I would just ride, maybe quarter throttle, just ride around the track. And if a caution comes out, it comes out. You stay out because you don't need to pit. Everybody else comes down the top off. You see what I mean? And then you get your check position back.
Yep. Well, Denny Carroll changed his mind. He was going to start on the outside. Now he chooses to go to the inside and put Seminara up on the top. We'll see if that's the right decision. He'll have Emery as his pusher. Seminara will have Chuck McClure.
I would hope that some of these drivers are actually watching the stream as they're racing, because I would love for them to take the advice that we give.
Jeff Supta is not in the field, so we know that he's not watching. Supta always listened into our little race strategies and everything. Sometimes he used them. Green flag in the air. We're now 2/3 of the way home here in the season opener of the Season 62 Talladega Challenge Series. These drivers potentially could make it to the checkered flag if they save a little bit on this run. But we may not have seen our last caution either. We've been under the yellow flag so far 4 times here tonight. Looks like that choice for Denny Carroll was the right one. He's clear on the back straightaway to the point. Chris Emery looking to clear into second place. One of the rare occasions that we see that inside line actually get the momentum down the back straightaway. And now Emery will jump up to the top. Denny Carroll wanted to. I think he got caught out, though. Chris Emery going to pull alongside of him, and Emery is going to beat him to the stripe. Emery going to be back out in front. Chris Emery's led 6 laps so far here tonight. That was his 7th.
21 laps to go as they cross the finish line. Seth, if we're going to talk about fuel saving, you don't really want to be the leader.
No, not at all. These drivers up here, I think, are banking on we're going to have another caution. They have to be, because there's, to your point, there's no way you can be saving at this point in time.
And you've got to think, yes, that's probably possible in the race we've seen today, but how many races have we seen in the past where we've gone green flag the rest of the way?
A lot, especially the latter half of last season, especially in the playoffs. I mean, I can't recall, ever since we started doing the broadcasting for the Tally Challenge, I can't remember a season as opposed to last year where pit road played so much of a factor. Pit road strategy played so much of a factor in the playoffs themselves and eventually for the championship. Like, we had long green flag runs. I think we had a couple of caution-free races last season. I mean, put a lot of emphasis onto the execution on pit road as much as it did on the other side of the double yellow line. So far here tonight, we've had a number of drivers that have taken turns out in front. Randy Waugh has led the most laps up to this point, but he's about to be tied if Chris Emery wins the battle back to the stripe, which it looks like he will. Randy Waugh and Chris Emery will have now led 9 laps this evening. 7 laps led for Bob Seminara, 5 for Denny Carroll, 4 for Tim Nofsker, 4 as well for Glenn Harris, 3 for Grant Wesley, 2 for Kelly Causey, and then so far 1 lap led apiece for Brian Schilling, Brian Rawson, Jeremy Jeffries, and Terry Bombard. I believe, if I recall correctly, last year we had 20 lead changes in the season opener of season 61. Wouldn't be surprised if we are close to tying or even surpassing that number here tonight, as we've had a number of drivers take a turn out in front, whether it be under green or under the caution periods. Starting to see a small third line forming back there. Keith Bynum, and I think, is that Glenn Harris up there with him? Yes, it is. But that's back around maybe just inside the top 15. As Tim Nofsky, you saw the back end of his car sliding out from underneath him as that car got really tight off of turn 2. Second car on that inside line.
Here comes that Burger King number 096 car, fourth on the outside lane. At least Burger King for me, anyway.
I was going to say, Burger King for you. Ooh, Glenn Harris warping side to side up there on that third lane. Looks like that's settled out now. Denny Carroll still on that inside line, still holding tough. Trying to fight back up alongside of Bob Seminara for second place. Chris Emery now going to have to do a little bit of mirror driving, figure out where the run is coming from. Stays committed to the middle line for the time being. Trying to recall, Chris Emery is a former winner at a super speedway in RTG, just not in this series. I believe it was back in either the Speed Freak series or the former series on Tuesday nights. He has, to my knowledge, not yet picked up a victory in the Tally Challenge. I might be incorrect in that. I'm going to have to check back and look. But I believe if he closes out the deal here tonight, it would be his first Tally Challenge victory. Still double wide, back through almost the entirety of this lead group.
I'm waiting to see if the 17
or
the 7.
Blinking back there. Sorry to cut you off. It was
Yep.
Wiley Coat in the middle of the pack there.
There he goes. I was waiting to see if either the 712 or the 17 were going to cut down.
Well, Chuck McClure mentioned about the fact we've done a lot of comparisons to last season.
Caution, wreck in the back.
Caution coming out. And it is race back at this point. So Emery wins the battle back to pit road there. This is the caution everybody was hoping for, to be able to save to probably get to the end on fuel.
Something happened.
There's the 21 of Randy Waugh, who had just gotten back on the lead lap.
Oh, okay. So the 43 just kind of ran into the back of the 043. There was a checkup. Oh, there was a checkup. That's why. The 80 got on the apron and was coming back up. Jessica had to swerve to evade, and the 043 just ran right into the back of her. And it doesn't look like too much damage.
You see Surratt on the apron. Like a little hitbox came into play there as well. Ooh, Cy Jones. Oh! Tried to avoid Dave Melson, came down and got into the right side of Randy Waugh. Again, to your point, though, it doesn't look like anybody involved got that much damage out of it. They should be okay. No lucky dogs will be needed. Let's go a little bit further back on the replay. Oh, I think...
I like how even you don't have the Randy Waugh car.
Nope, I don't. Let's see, did the 80 get warped into, or was this in reaction to the 5? Oh, nope, he got warped into. I had mentioned about the fact that I saw the 5 side deciding, and he warped into the 80 car, and that led to the checkup further back with Shelton and Brian Lovell.
While you're looking at replays, I'm going to give you a quick update. A couple cars came down pit road, and a couple didn't. The lead's going to now belong to Bob Seminara. Bob Dixon is going to up to second. Then it's Bernie Mobbs, Brian Schilling, Graham McDonald, Jeremy Jeffries, Wiley Coat, Brian Rawson, Brian Lavelle, and Chris Emery.
My
So the
scoring
top 9 stayed out.
my scoring updated a little quicker than I wanted it to.
So
Seminara was 4th, crossing the line to receive the yellow. I'm not certain where those other ones you mentioned, like Dixon, Mobbs, Schilling, where they were.
they were outside top 10.
Were they? Okay, so they gained a ton of track position there.
This
So
could possibly
now,
give them the fuel they need to save for the end of this race.
well, that's what I was going to ask you. Does this put them, do you think, in the window to get to the checkered flag, or are these drivers still banking that this race could end under
No,
caution?
if they were banking to end under caution, they would have. That's not how it works. I feel like they would have come down pit road. These guys are trying to make it to the end. I would not stay out on a racetrack under yellow with coming up to 12 laps to go. Oh god. Like that.
So I believe the top 9 were the ones that stayed out. So Chris Emery, according to scoring, won the battle off of pit road, and he will restart in 10th place. Well, the problem here, at least for Bob Seminara and Bob Dixon, is Wiley Coates come to pit road. They're going to be the front row. So they're going to be out in clean air. They're going to be at that disadvantage that we've talked about, where you're not going to be able to save fuel. You're going to have to do really, really hard saving here under these pacing laps with that kind of a criteria. You look further back at some of these other drivers that already pitted, they can go all out. They know they've got the fuel to make it past the regulation and then some. I would have thought, too, that I don't know exactly how much fuel consumption took place during the course of that run for drivers, but mathematically you would have only had to come down pit road and put in a can of fuel for those drivers that just pitted to be able to get to the end of this race. And it's interesting, you look at some of the drivers here that have elected to stay out. Bob Seminara, Brian Schilling, these are a couple of drivers that have played the strategy of staying out an extra couple of laps under a few of the respective cautions and then pitting at the 1 to green. Another one of those drivers is our defending champion, Jeremy Jeffries. Interesting call here, trying to see if he can lock himself early into the playoffs, defend his championship from 1 season ago. With the 5 and the 043 coming to pit road that last time by, now it is the top 8. Correction, top 7 that have stayed out under this caution period, which will put Chris Emery 8th on the upcoming restarts. Well, again, appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight. Next week, we'll be right back here on Thursday night, bringing you coverage of race number 2, the fallout of tonight, the lead up into the next race of the season. These drivers will be under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Last season, that was where everything for the most part was decided. It was our season opener, it was our regular season finale, it was where our elimination races, and ultimately where the championship was decided. This season, it's Talladega that gets that honor with the season opener here tonight. And we'll be back here at Talladega in 2 weeks' time as well. We'll be here every Thursday night with the exception of July the 4th. That'll be an off week for these drivers. 8 regular season races to determine the at least 12 drivers that will battle for the playoffs. At least 12 drivers will make it in on points. We may have a couple of drivers make it in via win that are outside the top 12 but inside the top 20 in the standings. And then it is 6 playoff races, 2 races in the first round. We eliminate it down to our final 8. 2 more playoff races where we whittle it down to our final 4. And those final 4 will compete in the final 2 races of the season. Driver that accumulates the most points in those 2 races will be the season 62 Talladega Challenge Series champion. Past 3 seasons, we've had 3 different drivers hoist that championship trophy. Grant Wesley back in season 59. Season 60 was Richard Martin, and last season was Jeremy Jeffries. And all three of those drivers that I just mentioned, I know at least two of them are restarting up inside of the top 10. Demar restarting back in 16th. All right, so we're getting ready here for another restart. It will be with 11 laps to go. We have not yet entered into that portion of the race we dubbed the point of no return, where a caution would end the race. That would not be for another 7 or 8 laps. We'll see if these drivers get to that point. Will we see maybe another yellow between now and then? And of course, the big question for our top 7, do they have enough fuel to get themselves to the conclusion? We know that, no, Emery already pitted. It's the top 7.
Oh, is it? Okay, I was going to say, because Jess just told me it was the top 8.
Nope, back to Brian Rawson in the 6th and 7th place.
Okay.
Is the last driver that did not pit.
And Jess even confirmed it's going to be close on fuel for these top 7.
Let's see how it plays out here. Hey, you start out the year just like everybody else at 0 points. Why not go for broke here? Try and see if you can nab yourself a golden ticket into the playoffs. If you don't, you got 7 more races to work on it.
Yep, 11 laps to go.
Oh, we're wrecking in the back. Shelton and Brian Lovell, and I think we're still green. Yep, green flag still remains out. Incident was deemed below the racing line, and so therefore pace car still stays stationary on pit lane.
That was a stack up to 0.29, just didn't get going.
Bob Dixon with a push on the top side here from Brian Schilling, and how soon do we see Chris Emery force the issue? We know that he can make it on fuel. Does he try for a third lane? If he does Ulysses Sandoval and Tim Nofsker go with him? The drivers can make it on fuel on the inside line are kind of boxed in. Here we go. Schilling to the top.
Give a quick point out real quick. The 8, well, I was just told that the 8 blew a gear, which caused a stack up at the start.
That would be Glenn Harris.
Second gear.
So Glenn Harris, outside pole sitter. He's at the tail end of the lead pack. Looks like he'll still remain in the draft. Bob Dixon just got shuffled out. He's in the sucker hole going backwards. We normally don't call the middle line the sucker hole here. It's usually the strong line, but if you have nobody to draft with, you're going to go to the back in a hurry.
All 4 go to the outside.
Graham McDonald now to the inside of Bernie Mobbs. Ooh, Ulysses Sandoval slides up the track there. He's going to get shuffled out by Tim Nofsker. These drivers can feel it. They know we're getting close to the end of this race. If they see a gap, if they have a run, they're going to have to take it here. How about Graham McDonald? We saw him make a limited number of starts second half of last season. And now trying to pick up his first Talladega Challenge victory. Ooh, got a little loose there through the center of 1 and 2. Clipped the apron. That'll stall out the inside line. Bob Seminara continuing to mirror drive here. Got the Florida gang out there. 1-2 with Bernie Mobbs as his wingman.
We've got plenty of time here, but Ulysses stuck on the third lane. Not anyone willing to help him at all. And we're going to probably see a third lane form sometime here soon towards the front, just based on who we've got up here.
Bob Seminara finished 8th in overall points last season. How about Bernie Mobbs, 19th in points last season? Did not make it into the playoffs. He wants to get back to victory lane in a bad, bad way. He showed the nose there to the inside of Bob Seminara through the trial, but tucks back into second place. Brian Schilling and Jeremy Jeffries, they've both led here tonight, but under caution. They're still looking for their first laps led under green flag conditions this evening, as, wow, that was tight around the 5th position. Brian Rawson pushing up almost into the side of the one of Jeremy Jeffries.
Cars are scattering all over the place. We have a third lane formed up there from about the 5th car back. I can't quite tell who that is.
I believe that's Rodney Sullins, along with Craig Hagley, Kelly Causey, and Ulysses Sandoval, trying to make something happen up on the top. Chris Emery with a run.
Grant Wesley trying to get up here as well.
Yeah, I thought Grant was going with him, but he suckered him in. He went to the middle line and left Emery out in the top.
Well, that third lane, if they catch him, I don't necessarily think it'll cause a big backup, But we'll see what happens when they get to see if they can get a run off the corner.
Top 3 are clear for the moment. Jeffries is also clear as he moves down to the bottom.
And all this fighting for the lead is going to stall out too, and it's gonna really help that third lane. Look at how much that third lane has up there now.
Chris Emery looks like a Blue Angels fighter jet with the speed he's got leading that top side. Rodney Sullivan's right there behind him. Oh, wreck in the back. That's Billy Elliser hard into the outside wall. Caution is out. We did not hit the point of no return. We're racing back here, folks. Seminara gonna hold off Brian Schilling, but barely. Schilling crosses second, Jeffries third. Ooh, we're 4 wide here under cooling down.
Lordy. Oh my lordy, oh my lordy.
We're good, it looks like. As now, question is
that we might finish up just about the same time JTN does. They've got 5 laps to go. They're under caution. And Ricky is still leading.
I think they're going to get done before we do. Probably.
These cars all separate down the
Indy's
backstretch.
Indy's 2.5 miles.
Yeah, so this is just points.
Yeah. It depends on when that caution came out for them. Well, it may have been just a single car incident that brought, that brought out that caution. I saw the number 26, the Quaker State car of Billy Elliser spinning up the racetrack in turn 4. And let's see what happened here. 19 of John Van Gorder goes to the inside and comes up and gets him in the left rear quarter panel. And then, whew, Milt Surratt almost went 5 for 6. Just narrowly avoided Elliser as he spun back down the racetrack, and that brought out the yellow for the 6th time tonight. Maybe the last time tonight. We'll have to wait and see, but one thing that we do know is that caution came out prior to the lap that would have ended this race under yellow, so we did not reach the point of no return. Question is, what are we looking at? We had a couple of races last season where we had 1-lap shootouts. We had a few races where we had green-white checkers. We could be looking at one of those kind of scenarios here in this one. Bear in mind as well here, you may have seen the 043 as we were cycling through the cars of Brian Lovell on pit road. He's 4 laps down, so add in the extra lap of pacing under this caution. If I'm not mistaken, I believe your entire top 5 were all drivers that stayed out under the last caution.
So this is going to be interesting. This is the caution they needed to save a little bit more.
I think Bernie Mobbs in 6th is the highest running of the drivers that did pit under the last yellow. Same for Chuck McClure in 7th. Chris Emery, Grant Wesley, and Rodney Sullivan's your current top 10.
At the lap that these guys hit for the caution to be out, which was 60, which is completion of 60 on a 61.
Yep.
We might have a 3-lap shootout.
Okay.
Might.
Is that also including in the lap car?
No, we don't have a lap car.
We do. 043 at Brian Lovell, 4 laps down.
Where do you see that at? Because I don't.
He's just now retired, but he was sitting on pit road 4 laps down at the time the caution came out.
That shows him retired, so I guess we'll see if it counts.
Also, John Van Gorder back behind the wall. So 5 drivers will not reach the conclusion of tonight's season opener. Van Gorder will get credit for 34th, Lovell 35th.
I'm going to take this caution to go to the commentator's room real quick.
Okay.
So I can be ready for this race to come back.
All right. Well, again, appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's the season opener. We knew it was going to be wild. Everybody, in some respect, treats this as a must-win situation race because it's a clean slate. Everybody's back at the drawing board with a brand new season. If you win the race, you're locked into the playoffs. If you don't win the race, well, you got 7 more regular season races to either try and find victory lane or get yourself up into the top 12 in points. And I can't tell you the number of times in the past that we've talked to drivers and they've said, yep, we've treated this race as bring home the trophy or bring home the steering wheel. We'll see what's going to be happening here At the conclusion of this one, it'll set the table for the remaining races of this regular season. We continue on next Thursday night from Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. I thought I saw the lights out on the pace car. Maybe it was, maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me there.
Well, I guess we're going to get a 2-lap shootout.
Looks like it.
Meanwhile, JTN's getting ready to go back under green with 2 laps to go as well.
So Bob Seminara, last season winless, but was consistent, made his way up into the playoffs via points, advanced into the second round, but was then eliminated. Trying to break back into victory lane, Brian Schilling, former winner from last season, a former multi-time champion. His most recent championship was back in either season 57 or season 58. I want to say it was season 58. Jeremy Jeffries, of course, the defending champion of the series. Graham McDonald, Brian Rawson, they're both looking for their first win of their Tally Challenge careers. Bernie Mobb's been a while since he's been to victory lane. Chuck McClure, I believe it was last season. Either last season or the season prior. He was the winner of the first race of the season. And Chris Emery, been strong here tonight. Emery's led 13 laps this evening. Going to be in the 8th position. And then Grant Wesley and Rodney Sullins. We know those two can get it done. Grant, a 3-time champion. Rodney Sullins, 2-time appearance in the Final Four. I believe there was a season... It was in the last 3 seasons, I think, that Rodney Sullins ended up winning the season opener. And it was 2 seasons ago that Chuck McClure won the season opener. Last season, the season opening winner was Greg Palmer. All right, lights are out. Atop the Chevy Corvette pace car, Bob Seminara choosing the inside line here. I think that there are 2 reasons he's chosen the inside line. Number 1 is he wants the shorter way around the racetrack through 1 and 2. But number 2, that breaks up the 4 and the 1, who we saw were working to try and bypass him when they came around to receive that last caution. So we'll see if Jeremy Jeffries and Brian Schilling can get hooked back up again here. They're kitty-corner to each other. And a lot of points still on the table here because 33 drivers are still running of the 38 that took the green to start the evening. And all 35 are on the lead lap.
And as right before we get back going under green here, just want to give a quick shout out to Jovan Anderson, who just won the race at Indianapolis.
Are you shouting him out just because you know he still holds that 40 minutes of blackmail on us?
I could care less about that 40 minutes of blackmail.
Oh, man, I want to go back to that night.
Me too.
Nothing like sitting for almost 2 hours in Bristol Motor Speedway race
Driving
traffic,
back to Knoxville,
head bobbing to Hadaway's What Is Love.
and it wasn't just that song either.
Oh,
we didn't
no.
just do that for 40 minutes, although that would have been hilarious.
Oh, we had SpongeBob, we had Gangnam Style. If it was a meme song, we had it.
Getting ready to come back to green here, Seth. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout.
And remember, next flag ends the race, so we will stay with the leaders if the caution flies and watch the race back to the line, whether they're racing back to the white or to the checkers. Here we go.
Ooh, 33 did not get a good jump. That's going to leave the 4 car out in this corner. That should allow Bob to clear him going off into coming out of turn 2.
Jeremy Jeffries gave Bob Seminara a pretty good shot there also. And now pulls right up to his back bumper. If you're Seminara, do you just keep it on the bottom there and defend that yellow line?
You are 100% going to have to. The 33 is not close enough to the 4 to provide a bump. What you want to do is try to make sure that the 1 and the 4 stay side by side, so the 1 can't get a run on you.
Oh, Chuck McClure! Nice save as he was all sorts of slideways off the nose of Grant Wesley going into 3. Third line starting to form as now Jeremy jumps to the top on Bob Seminara, coming back to the white flag through the tri-oval. Can the champ get back to victory lane? One season ago, it was the championship that eluded him. He'd won so many other championships on weeknights here at RTG, but had yet to win a championship in the Tally Challenge. He got it done. Now he's looking to win the season opener here one season later.
Well, no matter what, we're ending under green.
Brian Schilling in second. Ooh, movement in that third lane. They're not organized. Here comes Graham McDonald to the bottom on Brian Schilling. Jeffries looks to cover. Look at Sullins with a push from Nusker on the top, and they're all going to wreck. From about fourth place on back, it's now Jeffries and McDonald.
Oh my Lord. We've got cars flipping outside of the racetrack. Oh my gosh.
Graham McDonald, he doesn't have help. Even if he makes the move on Jeffries, he doesn't have the momentum. Bernie mobs with a big run, but it's too late. Jeremy Jeffries back to victory lane. The champ will defend his title later on this season.
I hope Ulysses is okay.
Was he the one that exited the track?
Oh, there was a bunch of cars. You need to watch
In Team Wrecking Ball fashion, of course, he would be the one that goes up above the catch fence and leaves the track.
You need to go back and look at that, like right now.
Well, we've had this whole running joke. The end of last season, all-star break. You saw the door bang there from Grant Wesley to Jeremy Jeffries. The question between those two of who has the true golden horseshoe. Well, I think that it's Grant Wesley has the golden horseshoe and Jeremy Jeffries has the golden fish shoe.
Oh, you need to look at this wreck from Brian Rawson's point of view. Please, like right now, you need to look
We got a burnout we got to watch here first, my guy. We will go back and we will look at replays, but we got to see this burnout.
Oh, Ulysses. Oh, it was Ulysses and Brian Rawson that almost cleared the racetrack. They were stuck in midair. What is this?
What is love?
Oh, my Lord. You need to watch that. Oh, my God.
Well, this is the second time in the last 2 seasons that a debuting paint scheme has gone to victory lane. Last season, it was Chuck McClure in the new colors with the RLM Arena sponsored machine. And here in the season opener, it's the Goldfish machine with Jeremy Jeffries. Well, I don't know if he has gold inside the car with the horseshoe, but he's got gold outside the car with Goldfish.
Oh,
there's going to be Goldfish raining down in victory lane. And Jeremy Jeffries, in typical fashion, he had a pit stall all the way back near the end of pit road. He qualified 30th in random qualifying draw, but typical celebration. He'll pull right down here to his pit crew, and he'll celebrate with his team on pit road.
Physics were broken in this wreck. Physics was broken in this wreck. The laws of physics were broken.
Sir Isaac Newton is rolling over in his grave. Jeremy Jeffries, car number 1, P1 in race 1 here tonight. As all right, Michael, we'll go back and we'll take a look at the replay of what ended this race under caution. This was up at the front, and this was a corner wreck, which usually leads to violent impact.
Please do it in slow motion. From the 6 perspective.
From the 6, all right.
In the TV2 camera view.
TV2, gotcha. Here it is, going into 3. Seminara around. Denny Carroll, Rodney Sullins. I mean, we've had a couple big ones tonight. This was the huge one.
Now keep watching. Can't you see it? Are they stuck together yet?
They are stuck together.
And look at them go. Just watch physics.
They're just hanging there.
That's what I'm saying. Physics broke.
They just literally hung there. They didn't ascend. They didn't descend. They just stayed stationary until finally coming back down to rest. I don't think anybody left the track, though.
No, when I was watching it live, it looked like somebody almost did. But like I said, I hope Ulysses is okay.
All right, how about in real time?
Oh, yes, please.
Here we go. Find your driver. See if they made it through. The huge one through 3 and 4. Wow. And there you see. How heavy are these cars?
Oh God, a lot.
They're like, what, 1,800-pound cars?
Think so.
Almost 2 tons?
Probably.
Well, 4 tons just stayed stationary in the air. That makes a lot of sense. I know he was back behind this. I don't know if he was involved, but let's see what it's like driving behind the big one, courtesy of the 80 of Milt Surratt. Watch this.
I don't know. Did he make it through?
Nope, not quite. Got clipped. He almost got through. And at that point, everybody involved,
Was dead.
they all grab a gear and they try and race back to the start-finish line because,
At that point, everybody involved was dead.
well, their ghosts took over and raced back to the start-finish line to gain whatever positions they could.
Gonna be a grand funeral. You know what? I feel like we should break our rule. If he's still in TeamSpeak, we need to interview Ulysses after that wreck.
I don't know if he's still here or not. But first, we gotta look at the finishing results.
Oh, he's still here.
Here's a look at him. Jeremy Jeffries brings it home with the win. How about Graham McDonald here tonight? That's going to be his best finish of his Tally Challenge career. If he'd had a drafting partner, might have been able to do something, but with nobody behind him through 3 and 4 and coming back through the tri-oval, he just had to settle for second. Bernie Mobbs, give it one more lap, he might have had something. He had a big run through the tri-oval. He'll get a podium in third. Brian Schilling will finish in fourth. Tim Knofsker fifth. Then Grant Wesley in 6th, Craig Hagley in 7th, Bobby Farrell, Ron Hagelin, and Glenn Harris going to complete your top 10 here tonight. I believe those were the drivers that were not necessarily involved and were able to race back for top 10s. The rest of these drivers, they were all involved in the wreck and were able to salvage at least somewhat decent finishes there. Josh Metallic, Cy Jones, Mike Mangialardi, Terry Bombard, Chuck McClure, your top 15. Milt Surratt, who we were on board with there, got 16th. Jessica Shelton, 17th. Billy Ellis, Dave Melson, and Keith Bynum going to complete the top 20. Mark Paglia, Bob Seminara, tough break there for him. He was trying that strategy, had that track position with the fuel strategy. He got caught up in that wreck. It's 22nd. Kelly Causey, after starting on the pole, 23rd. Wiley Coate, Bob Dixon, the rest of the top 25. Chris Emery had a fast car all night and got 26th. 27th for Richard Martin. Brian Rawson, who was up there at the start of that wreck, 28th. Randy Waugh and Rodney Sullivan's the last drivers to finish on the lead lap. Rodney was up there around the 4th or 5th position, leading that third line when the trouble ensued. Denny Carroll finished a lap down in 31st. Larry D did not reach the conclusion in 32nd. Ulysses Sandoval also did not make it back to the line. He'll get 33rd. And then 5 drivers prior to that incident in 3 and 4 finished out of the race. Those were the cars of John Van Gorder, Brian Lovell, Jeff Cravello, John Godfrey, and Germ Lewis. So Jeremy Jeffries is locked in to the playoffs. Number of these drivers up inside of the top 12. They're going to be in playoff spots points-wise heading into next week. And then everybody else, they'll be looking to bounce back either via win or a good run back into the top 12. Still a good chunk of the regular season left to go.
And before we talk to our top 3, let's go ahead and grab him while he's still here.
Well, then you're going to interview him.
I want to make sure he's okay.
All right, you got this then. Go ahead.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Ulysses, this is Michael and Seth up in the booth. You got us?
Wait. Hello, 1 second. Are you interviewing from backwards? Like
Nope.
from last from first?
I just want to make sure you're okay, man. That was a heck of a wreck.
Yeah, I just leave from the infield care center. I'm missing an arm, but I have another one.
Man, I gotta tell you, that was some good fighting up there. But that wreck, I just really wanted to make sure that you were okay.
Oh well, they all say that you can use at least. Well, most people use one hand to use the wheel, so I'll be okay for the next races. I'm definitely gonna be here next week.
Oh, Seth, anything you want to say?
No, I'm glad he's okay, and yeah, you know, a team wrecking ball fashion wreck right there. Well done.
Oh yeah.
All right, Ulysses. Just want to make sure you're okay, man. You go have a good night and rest
Just
well.
just like a wrecking ball from the sky coming up and destroy all the cars there. I was flying.
Yeah, he really was. All right,
Eh,
Ulysses. Have a good night, man.
Good night, y'all.
User
I
was
just
moved
want to
out
point
of
out
your
you just
channel.
wished a man that lost an arm a good night. Wow, you have a cruel sense of irony. All right, let's go down. See if we can interview our podium finishers. Let's dial up the guy that brings home third place here tonight, Bernie Mobbs.
User was moved
Hey,
to
Bernie,
your
Michael and Seth
channel.
up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yes, loud and clear. How's it
Man,
going?
I'll tell you what, calamity there on that, what potentially was final lap of the evening. You were able to make your way through. So I get a really big run there through the trial, but not enough space to be able to close up to get second or that race win. But I mean, I talked about this during the course of the race last season. A lot of struggles for you. Wanted to begin this season on a high note. How good is it to have it on the podium here for the season opener?
Feels real good. It was a strange race. I kept getting backed up, and at the end, I got through that last one. I was just amazed and happy.
Yeah, that was a really heck of a fun race out there, man. You know, at first I set to ask the question earlier in the race to me, so I want to ask it to you guys. After taking a couple weeks is off from this specific mod and this specific series here, coming back to it, did it seem like there was any type of like race rust or anything like that? Getting back used to these cars again?
No, to me, it just felt really good. That we had a minor few cautions tonight. Nothing crazy like last season, but all in all, I was ready to go. It felt great.
Now, I also mentioned this as well. I've talked with a number of drivers during the course of season openers that we've had for not just for this series, but for other series as well. And they've been of the mentality that with it being a clean slate and everybody starting at 0 points, they approach this race, ironically enough, as a must win scenario type race because, if you win, then you're automatically locked into the playoffs, provided you stay in the top 20 in points. And if you don't win, well, you've got some races to work with to be able to gain back the points you lost. Where were you? Were you in that kind of a mindset?
No, I was actually in a hope to finish top 10 mindset from where I was starting. I just want to work my way up, and get up in that mix and just have a good finish starting out. The win would have been nice, but top 10 is what I was going for.
Well, definitely got a top 10, got a top 5 here to kick off season 62, and he'll look to build on that starting next week at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Bernie, congratulations on the great job getting through that big wreck to bring it home on the podium. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for all the guys at FRN. You guys put on a great show. Enjoy watching it after the race. And thanks to all the guys at RTG, all the admins, and all the other races, too. It's a really good show. So thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.
Bernie Mobbs brings it home third place here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway in the season opener. Congratulations once again. Best of luck next week. Maybe we get to talk to you again at Burnt Screwdrivers.
Thanks. See you later.
Let's see if we can now dial
User
up
was moved out of your channel.
best finish of his career. Second place here tonight. Let's see if we can get a hold of Graham McDonald.
User was moved to your
Hey, Graham,
channel.
it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yep, I got you.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Heck of a run for you here tonight. Best finish of your career in this series. Had a shot at that victory, but unfortunately, you look in your rearview mirror after that wreck. There's no drafting help for you to be able to make a move on the one. So at that point, were you just committed to riding behind and bringing it home in second place, or were you trying to work on something to generate a run to at least make it a battle to the line with Jeremy?
Tonight. My hope was just to get a top 10 after. I haven't had the best races here yet.
Well, after Seth once again kind of steals my question away in a way, it was a good finish. First podium of the new season, and up there, your car ran good all night. Take us through some of that strategy at the end before the last two cautions when everyone was wondering if they were going to make it. What was going through your mind for strategy right there?
I knew it was going to be real close unless another caution came out, and the last one just put me over the top.
You talked about the bad luck that you hit last year and the limited number of starts that you made. What were some of the takeaways that you had from those races that you were able to apply here? And do you think it's going to help you be able to make a good run here in the regular season towards a playoff spot in what looks like it's now going to be your first full-time season?
I think the biggest thing is the learning curve of how the drivers drive and the lines they run on some of these tracks.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to seeing if this is just the start of you making a run into your first postseason appearance. Great way to kick it off with a second place run in tonight's season opener at Talladega. Congratulations, job well done, Graham. Before we let you go, we'll give the opportunity to thank some sponsors and do some shout outs.
Yeah, I just want to thank the immense for running the series, and hope everything just keeps going good.
Well, Graham McDonald, P2, here tonight at Talladega. Best finish of his Tally Challenge career. We'll look to see if maybe he can better that by one position next week when we head to Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Best of luck there, and congrats on the great run here tonight, Graham.
Okay, thanks and good night.
User was moved
All
out
right,
of your channel.
down to victory lane we go. Let's dial up the defending champion. He's heading back to the postseason. Let's get a hold of Jeremy Jeffries.
User was moved to your
Hey, Jeremy,
channel.
Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hi, Michael. Hi, Seth.
Well, new season, new paint scheme, same driver though. You go back to victory lane in the season opener. You're heading to the postseason to defend your title from one season ago, but I'll tell you what, there were a couple of moments there that you played, I don't know, it seemed like somewhat unorthodox strategy. We saw you in the middle portion of the race, stay out, lead a lap, go to the back of the pack for the topping up the field take at 1 to green, and then you were one of the half dozen drivers that elected to gain the track position in the latter stages of this race, try and save the fuel to make it to the end. So how close were you there when we got to that final restart?
The final restart, I was good 2-3 laps. If we hadn't had that caution, I probably was going to be like a half lap short.
Yeah, it's just what were you thinking? At the end there, when you got the lead, you were white flag down the backstretch going in that turn 3, guarding the position, and then you just see everybody die behind you.
That was a very interesting. I was watching my review mirror, and all of a sudden I think the 33 got hit up into the 4, and then the 4 got hit up to the 38, and then everybody just disappeared. I was like, whoa.
We talked about, what you were able to do last season. This was the championship that alluded to. You went to victory lane twice, of course, ended up hoisting that big championship trophy at the end of the season. And I don't think I asked you this question at the end of the year, but I'm kind of curious here now with you being in victory lane in this first race. With having that kind of weight off your shoulders, finally having a championship in this series, does that now give you a little bit more added confidence, a little bit more added aggression in your racing style, in the thought process of, well, I've got one, now I can go out there and try and get another?
That's the goal. I mean, the staying out there, knowing I was short on fuel, I knew I wasn't going to make it if we stayed green. I was like, I've won the championship, so let's just have some fun. That's my main goal this season, is to have fun. And you did see me do some unorthodox things. I did race a little differently. I did things a little differently this race, just to try things.
Well, you talk about having fun. We've been having fun the last month or so with the kind of back and forth between who has the golden horseshoe, you or Grant. Have we exchanged it for a golden fish now, according to your sponsor? Is that what we got now in the car?
You picked up on that, huh?
Yeah, I did. There's gold out in the car and in the car.
Yeah, Grant asked for it back after the race.
Oh, no. And you gave it back to him?
No, hell no.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because if you gave it back to him and you're still in victory lane, then maybe it wasn't the golden horseshoe after all.
Yeah, we're just going to make it the golden fish.
Love it. Well, Jeremy, congratulations on the victory here tonight. You got now 7 races to maybe try and rack up some more bonus points, go for that regular season championship. We already know you're going to be defending your title when the playoffs begin with the win here tonight in the season opener. Well, let's get back to your celebrating in a moment, but first, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Oh, I guess I should thank Goldfish for sponsoring me this season. The Valvoline will make some appearances still, so Valvoline, Goldfish, thank you. Team XFM, Thanks for putting out an awesome car. To you guys for putting on the broadcast, Bones and Prime, Josh, Wiley, Tim, everybody that keeps RTG and the Talladega Challenge Series going. And gosh, family, friends, everybody watching in YouTube land. I'm here to have fun this season. And what more fun is there than being Victory Lane with you guys?
Absolutely. Well, Jeremy, congratulations on the job well done, getting the season, the defending champion season off right with the victory here tonight. We'll look forward to seeing what you're able to do when we head to a track that you're very good at Burton Screwdrivers Raceway next week with a win already in your back pocket. Congratulations once again, and best of luck here for the remainder of this regular season in preparation for your title defense.
Holy crap, I won at non-BSR.
That's
wow.
right.
Thanks.
Jeremy Jeffries, the victor here tonight at
User was
Talladega
moved out of
Super
your channel.
Speedway. And Michael, I mean, Jeremy last season, he was the epitome of consistency. He had trips to victory lane at key moments. He won the championship, and now he comes in and wins the season opener. I think the rest of the field's been put on notice. He's here to have fun, and he's finding victory lane here in the early going. I think that car number 1 might be one of the favorites here in season 62. Question is, who's going to pick up that gauntlet he's thrown down?
Exactly, and it's going to be interesting to see next week who could possibly answer that challenge.
A lot of drivers that we're used to seeing up inside of the top 10 week after week. A lot of former champions didn't get the performance they were looking for here tonight. It will be interesting to see what the mentality reset is for drivers based off of where they finished in this one. Do they approach next week as a must-win to gain back the points they lost? Do they now just look for consistency, or do some drivers now look for maybe just trying to see if they can be in the top 5 or pick up a victory next week, but not necessarily put themselves in a perilous position since everybody now has points calculated in this first race of the season? It will be very interesting to see how it all plays out, but a wild season opener here for season 62, and congratulations to Jeremy Jeffries, the defending champ, going back to victory lane here in the season opener. Michael, we knew it was going to be wild. We knew different drivers are going to have different agendas. Big field here tonight. We expect to see big fields during the course of the season. Cannot wait to see how it all unfolds after the fallout from tonight next week. I appreciate you joining me up in the booth here tonight.
Absolutely, it was fun. I definitely hope I can be up here more often. I got to wait and see how my schedule at my actual job goes.
Absolutely. Well, thanks to everybody that tuned to our coverage here tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next Thursday night. Race number 2 of season 62 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series will be coming to you live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, for Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Congratulations once again to Jeremy Jeffries, your winner here tonight at Talladega, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your